Keeping venomous reptiles is an unforgiving hobby, requiring proper training and lots of experience. One simple mistake can be the difference between life and death. Remember, the most venomous snake in the world is the one that just bit you. There are no venomous snakes with training wheels. Just because you see viperkeeper handle snakes a certain way does not mean you should try it too.
This gal I've had since a baby, I think since 2010. She's somewhat prone to respiratory infections and really hasn't fed much, but recently has started feeding pretty regularly, so I am happy to give her all she wants to eat. Well, that was a very unusual thing. I'm glad we sort of caught that on camera, because you don't often see a rhino viper miss the target like that. And of course, rhino vipers are equatorial snakes in Africa. Their range stretches from east coast all the way to the west coast. And of course, there's different variations depending on where they're from. They all have highly toxic venom. They're semi-aquatic. That's why they also have a common name called the riverjack, because they're quite often seen basking along the riversides and on logs and such. They're a deep forest snake. They really don't care for too much light. I do have some natural sunlight in there for her, but I have her overhead light off because they prefer a bit cooler temperatures. If later today, after she ingests this rat, she will sit over that hot spot from the cage below. The light there is giving a very nice hot spot. We measure temperatures here fairly frequently, and when I have her overhead light on, it just gets way too hot for her and she goes to the back of the log. But this is the whole idea, that you give them a very broad temperature range and let them pick what they're comfortable with. So we're going to shut her cage and move on to the next animal. Well, I was coming in and to feed or attempt to feed a couple other snakes when Miss Rhino Viper, who had the nice big rat, came over, and when she was drinking out of her water dish, and she drank for like a half an hour. So I am going to carefully add some fresh water. I'm not going to disturb her and remove it right now. But remember, I told you their common name is riverjack and they're semi-aquatic, but you notice she didn't like the cold water touching her booty there. So we're going to leave her alone, and maybe she'll drink some more. Having snakes that are well hydrated is very important. We work really hard at that here. Lori spends a lot of time scrubbing and cleaning water dishes. You know, she can only get to certain ones safely. With the watering can, as you saw me, we also have this, which allows her to fill water dishes at a safe distance. The cage door can be just opened a small fraction, and the nozzle can be adjusted to give a stream, and she can fill a water dish remotely and safely. When I'm not here, Lori does make the rounds and checks and make sure that everybody has water. And during the winter months, when it's much drier, right now the humidity is 68% in this room, but in the winter months it can drop to like 30%. So she'll use the same spraying device downstairs here to add moisture to the cage in the room. And believe me, the snakes, even the tropical snakes that live in rainforests, they don't like to get wet. So in the other two snake rooms, I've got an automated misting system that Lori just, sets the valves open for the cages that she wants to wet down or I want to wet down. We close them for the cages that don't need some water. We usually try to give snakes extra water and misting when they're in shed, so they have a better shedding. But you can put as much water on the outside as you like. It's not going to help them shed if they don't have enough water inside, and that's why I feed them, wet food that's out of a bucket with, water that it was thawed in. This gets some initial water down, and as we saw today, she came over and had a nice drink for a good 20 minutes at her water dish. And because snakes have this really weird ability to drink for a long time and then have all of it dribble out of their throat and mouth, she's got her head propped up to sort of let it sit down. So we're gonna leave her alone, and we're gonna try to feed some other snakes right now. So I'll take the stick out of my butt and put it back in the window. Yeah, actually, pretty funny. A lot of times, when I take these sticks out of the windows of the cage, a lot of times I'll stick them in my back pocket, and sometimes Lori, says to me, "It looks like you just pulled it out of your butt and not your pocket." But we use these sticks for two reasons. One, the cage windows rattle and make noise that's annoying because we have traffic on the road in front of us. But also, it's extra security because snakes are escape artists, and if they can get out of a cage, they will work at it. They will push the window, and these are snakes that we don't want them opening the window when we don't want them to, which is never. Furthermore, since Lori and I are the only two people in the house, I'm not using locks right now. When other people had access and such, I actually used locks, but since we're the only two here, we don't use them anymore. So with that, we'll go on and feed some other animals. Hi, Weasel. I see you're ready, huh? And you're like, well, you've kept me waiting, dude. So, for those of you who are new, the reason why we call him Weasel is because he will pop goes the weasel right out of the cage. Huh?
Yeah.
Just like that. Yes, I know you're ready to eat.
Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Weasel.
A little bit too far there, dude.
Weasel, come on. I've had Weasel for a long time. He's a Moorish viper. I've had him since birth also. Hey dude, over here. Oh no, don't bite that. Bite the rat. There you go. And Weasel's also well known for highly masticating his food, even though he swallows it whole. He likes to make sure that that rat is dead.
And tenderized.
Yeah, he doesn't give the venom a chance to work. He just savages the poor thing. Moorish vipers are from the Mediterranean region of the world. Greece would be a fine example. The Caucasus. They were in Macrovipera, that particular genus, but their DNA proved out to be more closely related to the genus which contains the Russell's viper. So these are Deboia Mauritanica now, and not Macrovipera Mauritanica. These have very, very cytotoxic and hemorrhagic venom. People that get bit by them have a very serious clinical course in the hospital. With the availability of antivenin, most people do well. However, you don't want to get bit by them because their venom contains lots of metalloproteases which break down your tissue and your components in your blood.